beyond the codes. As the last quarter of the century approached, humanity had reached the limits in the race for data and processing power. Quantum computers, artificial intelligences, neural networks, all were remarkable, but still could not approach the complexity of that organic marvel called the human brain. And it was at this very point that a quietly developed project emerged in the scientific world, CL1. CL1 was a structure that completely rejected traditional computing methods. Living cells instead of transistors, electrochemical communication instead of software. This wasn't a machine, it was a living being. CL1 went down in history as the world's first biological computer to operate with biological brain cells. What is CL1? CL1 was the first system with a biological processor created by cultivating thousands of living neurons in a laboratory environment. These neurons were fed, trained, and interacted with the outside world via microelectrode arrays, MEA. The system was formed using stem cells taken from both human and animal brains. However, what made CL1 unique was not just its biological basis. CL1 could learn. It perceived the tasks given to it, received feedback, and changed its behavior accordingly. In other words, CL1 didn't just work, it also evolved. First reaction: the Pong experiment. The abilities of CL1 were first tested with an experiment. The simple game Pong was placed before the computer. While traditional artificial intelligences solved this game with code, CL1 would play using synaptic connections. There was no software, no algorithm, only the learning reflex of living brain cells. The result of the experiment astonished the scientific world. Within minutes, CL1 understood the game's dynamics and began making its own decisions. The cells communicated among themselves, forming a behavior pattern aimed at winning. This was the first biological intelligence challenge in a digital environment. Energy efficiency, a silent revolution. Another impressive feature of CL1 was its power consumption. While traditional processors require enormous amounts of energy to operate millions of transistors, CL1 could handle high-level cognitive processes like learning and decision-making with just a few millivolts of energy. This efficiency was the greatest gift biology had offered engineering. Nature had been optimized through billions of years of evolution. CL1 was the product of this natural optimization. It was no longer just technology, but a hybrid entity between living and artificial. Ethics, limits, and question marks. The success of CL1 also raised ethical questions while pushing the scientific boundaries. Granting decision-making ability to a computer made of living cells triggered disturbing debates about the possibility of consciousness. If CL1 is alive, would harming it be unethical? If it can learn, could it one day become self-aware? People began to discuss not only the system's efficiency, but also its existential meaning. The birth of CL1 was not only a technological revolution, but a philosophical turning point. Application areas: health, artificial intelligence, and beyond. The team behind CL1 made it clear that this biological system would not remain merely experimental. Systems like CL1 were planned to be used to model brain diseases and understand neurodegenerative ailments such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. In addition, hybrid artificial intelligences were being developed to enable machines to think closer to the human brain. The architecture of CL1 was inspiring the learning machines of the future. The boundaries of classic software no longer existed. The limit was life itself, a trace-defying time. CL1 began to be remembered as a milestone in the history of technology. Just like the first computer, the first internet connection, or the first artificial intelligence example, but CL1 was beyond these, because it was the first step uniting nature and technology. Today, CL1 is not just a system, it has become a symbol of bringing biological potential into the technological realm. The number of articles written, documentaries filmed, and new projects carried out about it increases every day. Indeed, CL1 reminds us not just where science can go, but also where it comes from, nature itself. Epilogue: living or code? CL1 is not just a device, but also a question mark. The era of machines built on code is now transforming into intelligence woven from cells. In this transformation, humanity must redefine both its potential and its limitations. Because CL1 is not a machine shaping the future, it is the future itself. If the world of CL1 beyond the codes interests you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What are your thoughts on this biotechnology revolution?